The desert stretched endlessly, a sea of golden sands that shimmered under the burning sun. Daniel rode a small dune rover, scanning the horizon with sharp eyes. He was not just any archaeologist. He was a man driven by stories that spoke of lost civilizations, of places untouched for thousands of years. Around him were his companions: Amir, a geologist with a knack for reading the earth; Lena, an engineer who could repair anything with a wire and a tool; and Mara, a historian whose memory held knowledge of every ancient text they had studied. Together, they made a team that could tackle even the most dangerous expeditions. For days, they had followed whispers in a buried city beneath the desert. The sandstorms made travel slow, and the harsh wind burned their skin, but Daniel never gave up. He believed something extraordinary waited below. The maps were vague, but Daniel's instincts told him the coordinates were right. As the sun sank low on the horizon, the desert turned orange and red, and the group decided to set up camp near a strange rise of sand that seemed unnatural. That night, the wind carried a strange sound, a low hum that made their teeth chatter. Daniel could not sleep. He walked toward the sand dune, flashlight in hand, feeling drawn to something hidden. His boots sank into the sand as he climbed higher, and then he saw it, a shape that should not have been there. A metallic door, smooth and glimmering under the moonlight, half buried in the sand. "Amir! Lena, Mara! Come here!" Daniel shouted, his voice trembling with excitement. They rushed up the dune, shielding their eyes from the wind. The door was unlike anything they had ever seen. It was tall, wider than any normal door, and the metal had a strange sheen, almost as if it had been polished by time itself. There were no handles, no locks, just symbols etched along its surface. Daniel knelt to examine the carvings. The symbols did not match any language he knew. Some looked like stars, others like figures standing with arms raised. "This is incredible," Mara whispered, running her fingers over the cold surface. "I have never seen anything like this. It does not belong to any human civilization." "Then who made it?" Amir asked, eyes wide. He had studied the desert for years, but he had never encountered metal like this, untouched and uncorroded. Even after thousands of years, thought Daniel stood, placing his hand on the door. A shiver ran through him. It was as if the door itself recognized him. "I don't know," he said quietly, "but I feel that it is waiting for someone. Maybe it is waiting for us." Lena circled the door, her tools in hand. She tapped, prodded, and tried to detect any weakness, any seam, but there was nothing. The door did not open to force. It did not respond to tools. "It is not a normal door," she said finally. "Whatever is behind this, it was meant to stay hidden. Or maybe it was meant for a time like now." The team decided to wait until morning to investigate further. That night, the desert sky was full of stars. Daniel could not sleep. He lay in his tent thinking about the door, about the stories of ancient travelers, and about the possibility that humans were not alone in shaping the past. A wind passed over the camp, and the hum returned, soft but clear, like a distant song down at dawn. They approached the door with more tools, more care, and a growing sense of wonder. As the first rays of sunlight touched its surface, the symbols glowed faintly. Daniel stepped closer. "Look," he said, pointing. "It's reacting to the light, or maybe to us." Mara knelt to touch the carvings. Her hand hovered above a star-like symbol, and the ground beneath them shook slightly. A deep vibration traveled up through the soles of their boots. The sand around the door shifted, revealing the outline of a staircase leading down. It was subtle, almost invisible, but unmistakable. The tomb was not just behind the door. It was beneath it. The team exchanged glances, a mixture of fear and excitement in their eyes. This was what they had come for. Not a ruin, not a simple cave, but something lost to time. Something that held stories and secrets no human had touched for thousands of years. Daniel took a deep breath. "This is it," he said. "This is what we have been looking for. No matter what waits for us down there, we have found the doorway to a forgotten world." As they prepared to open the door, the sun rose higher, casting long shadows across the desert. Daniel felt a strange energy pulsing from the metal, a promise that their journey had only just begun. Beneath the desert sands, the tomb awaited, silent and powerful, ready to reveal the secrets it had kept for centuries. And for the first time, Daniel felt that humanity might be about to remember a truth long lost, a truth that would change everything they thought they knew about their past and their place in the universe. The team stared at the door, now fully uncovered. Daniel's heart raced with anticipation. The staircase beneath it descended into darkness, disappearing far below the shifting sands. Lena checked her lights and tools while Amir examined the structure, making sure it would not collapse. Mara's eyes were wide with wonder, tracing the strange symbols along the door. Each of them knew this was no ordinary tomb. Daniel stepped first, carefully placing his foot on the first stone step. It was smooth, worn by time, yet perfectly solid. As they moved down, the air grew cooler. The desert heat above seemed like a distant memory. The walls were lined with carvings, faintly glowing with the same strange light that had appeared on the door. The carvings showed scenes of humans and taller beings, standing side by side, building cities, stunning stars, and holding objects that seemed both mechanical and magical. "This is incredible," Mara whispered. "Look at this. Humans are not alone here. Someone helped them." Amir's brow furrowed. "I have seen many ancient ruins, but nothing like this. These walls, they are not from any human civilization we know. They are older than anything written in our history books." Lena shone her flashlight along the steps. "The path continues far below. Whatever built this tomb was careful. It was designed to survive centuries untouched. That means whatever is down there is important, maybe more important than anything we expected." As they descended deeper, the hum that Daniel had heard in the desert night grew louder. It was not mechanical. It was not natural. It felt alive, like the heartbeat of the tomb itself. The explorers paused to listen. The sound seemed to pulse through their bodies, steady and strong. Daniel felt a shiver run down his spine. At the bottom of the staircase, they reached a narrow corridor. The walls were smooth, made of a dark stone that seemed to absorb the light. Symbols continued along the surface, now more complex. Daniel traced his fingers over a pattern that looked like a circle surrounded by rays. He felt a strange energy, as if the pattern recognized him. "This is unlike anything I have studied," Mara said, bending closer. "These symbols are not just decoration. They tell a story about humans and something else, something powerful." Lena tapped a panel on the wall. A faint click echoed through the corridor, and a section of the wall shifted, revealing a wider chamber. The team stepped inside, eyes widening at the sight. The room was enormous, with a high ceiling that seemed to disappear into shadows. In the center were large pods, like tall glass cylinders, lined in perfect rows. Inside, figures lay motionless, covered in a thin layer of dust. They were tall, with elongated limbs and armored suits, unlike anything the team that Daniel approached the nearest pod, staring at the figure inside. They are sleeping," he said softly. "Not dead, but waiting. They have been here for thousands of years, untouched by time." Amir stepped back, unease written on his face. Why would anyone create something like this? Why put them here and leave them? Mara shook her head. Maybe they were protectors. Maybe this tomb was not for humans, but for guardians. And maybe we are meant to find them now. The hum grew louder, surrounding them. The light in the room shifted, highlighting the carvings along the walls. Daniel studied them carefully. They depicted humans learning from the tall figures, building machines, exploring the stars. And then the humans were shown standing alone, strong and confident, as if the taller beings had disappeared, leaving them to carry the legacy. Lena pointed to a symbol near one of the pods. This looks like a map or a warning. Something tells me this place is more than just history. It is a guide or a test. Daniel nodded, understanding dawning in his eyes. We are not just discovering the past. We are seeing a story about the future. Whoever built this tomb wanted someone to remember, someone to rise when the time was right. As they moved further into the chamber, one of the pods cracked slightly. A faint hiss escaped, and the figure inside stirred, though it did not fully awaken. The explorers froze, unsure whether to step back or continue. Daniel took a deep breath, steadying his nerves. We are here to learn, not to fight. Let us be careful and respectful. This is history, and history has waited long enough for us to understand it. The air seemed to pulse with energy, as if the tomb itself was aware of their presence. Light traveled along the walls in waves, guiding them deeper. The explorers followed, mesmerized by the carvings, the glowing symbols, and the strange, quiet power that surrounded them. Each step brought them closer to the heart of the tomb and closer to secrets that could change their understanding of humanity forever. Daniel paused at the far end of the chamber, looking back at his companions. We have taken the first step into the darkness, he said. But I feel that the real journey is just beginning. Beneath this desert, the tomb waits, and it will show us things that no one has seen for thousands of years. The team nodded, courage rising in their hearts. Together, they prepared to move forward into the deeper shadows, unaware of the wonders and challenges that lay ahead. The explorers moved cautiously deeper into the tomb, their footsteps echoing softly against the stone walls. The hum that had followed them since the desert seemed stronger here, vibrating through the floor and walls. Daniel held his flashlight, steady, trying to see what lay ahead. The narrow corridor opened into a vast hall, far larger than anything they had imagined. Rows of tall pods filled the chamber, standing like silent sentinels. Each pod glowed faintly from within, revealing figures inside. The explorers stopped, awed and uncertain. The figures were humanoid but taller, with limbs longer than any humans. They wore what looked like armor, intricately designed, and their faces were serene, as if they slept in perfect peace. Dust lay lightly on the pods, untouched for centuries. This is incredible, Mara whispered, her eyes wide. These figures, they are not human. But they have human features too. Look at their hands and faces. They are almost like us. Amir circled the pod, examining the carvings at its base. These symbols tell a story. Humans and these beings worked together. They shared knowledge. This is not just a tomb. This is a memory of something much larger than we ever imagined. Daniel approached a pod in the center of the hall. The glass-like surface was smooth and cold. He pressed his hand lightly against it, and the figure inside seemed almost to respond, its chest rising slightly as if acknowledging him. A shiver ran through Daniel. They are waiting, he said softly, waiting for something or someone. Lena shone her flashlight on the carvings along the walls. Scenes depicted humans learning from these taller figures, building machines, exploring stars, and creating cities together. Then, in later panels, the taller beings faded from the scenes, leaving humans standing tall, independent but wiser, as if they had passed the torch. Their story is clear, Mara said. They trained humans, they helped them grow, and then they left. This tomb preserves their legacy, so humans would remember when the time came. Suddenly, a faint crack sounded from one of the pods. The explorers froze. Dust shifted, and the pod's surface split slightly, revealing a glimpse of the figure within. It moved minutely, a hand twitching as if testing the air. None of the explorers spoke. Their hearts raced, unsure whether they should step closer or retreat. Daniel raised a hand, signaling calm. "We are here to learn, not disturb. Let us be careful. They are not dangerous. They are history, waiting for us to understand them." He stepped closer, studying the symbols on the pod. The carvings depicted guardianship, protection, and guidance. Daniel realized that these beings were not only allies to humans, but also protectors, perhaps of knowledge, perhaps of the earth itself. They were left here to watch, to wait. Maybe they expected humans to return one day. Amir frowned, still uneasy. What if we are not ready? What if we wake them by accident? Mara placed a reassuring hand on his arm. "We are ready. That is why we are here. This tomb chose to reveal itself now. It knows we have come." Lena moved around the room, scanning the pods with her equipment. Her devices detected faint energy readings from some of the figures, as if small currents of life still pulsed within them. "They are alive, in a way," she said, her voice full of wonder. "Not like us, but not dead either. They are in stasis, waiting for something important." Daniel studied the entire hall, feeling the weight of centuries pressing down on him. The room was more than a tomb. It was a story, a message, a reminder of the bond between humans and these extraordinary beings. Every figure, every carving, every glowing symbol told a single truth. Humans had allies in the distant past, and they had once shared a destiny far greater than what history recorded. As they explored further, one of the pods began to emit a soft light, brighter than before. A low hum joined the room's ambient sound, creating a resonance that vibrated through their chests. The light traced the carvings on the walls, illuminating a pathway deeper into the chamber. Daniel realized the tomb was guiding them, showing them where to go next. "Look," he said, pointing to the illuminated symbols. "The tomb is alive. It is teaching us. It wants us to understand its secrets, step by step. It is not just a resting place. It is a library, a guide, and a warning all at once." Mara knelt beside a pod, tracing the lines of a symbol with her fingers. "I think they wanted humans to remember that we are capable of greatness, that even without them we can rise. But they also left lessons, instructions, and knowledge for those who seek it carefully." The explorers exchanged looks of determination. They knew that this chamber, with its sleeping guardians and glowing carvings, was only the beginning. The tomb's heart lay further ahead, waiting to reveal truths that could change humanity's understanding of its own history. Daniel took a deep breath and looked at his companions. "We move forward together. We respect what is here, but we do not turn back. The tomb is not finished with us yet. Our journey has only begun." With that, the team advanced carefully, following the glowing symbols and the faint hum that guided them, ready to uncover deeper secrets hidden beneath the desert sands. The explorers stepped deeper into the tomb, leaving the sleeping chamber behind. The glow from the symbols faded slightly, but a low hum grew louder, vibrating through the stone floor and walls. Daniel led the team cautiously, his flashlight cutting through the shadows. The air felt heavier here, charged with an energy that made their hair stand on end. Ahead, the corridor opened into a vast hall unlike anything they had seen before. Machines lined the walls, tall and sleek, with surfaces that shimmered faintly. Some resembled towers, others looked like consoles with glowing panels. They did not move at first, but the moment the explorers entered, lights flickered to life across the room. Screens lit up with star maps, planets, and symbols moving in patterns too complex for any of them to fully understand. Lena's eyes widened. "This is incredible. These machines, they are ancient, but they are still working. Look at the data flowing across these panels. Amir stepped closer to a large console. I have never seen technology like this. It is not human. But it was made for humans. Look at these symbols. They are instructions, but also messages. Someone wanted humans to understand. Daniel approached a central machine that towered above the rest. Its surface displayed a series of images, humans standing beside tall beings, building cities, studying stars, and working with strange machines. Then the images shifted to battles, worlds in chaos, and planets being destroyed. Earth appeared on the screen, marked with glowing symbols. Daniel's heart quickened. This shows humans were part of something much larger than we knew. Daniel whispered. We were not alone. We had allies. Mara bent over a smaller console. It says here, these allies traveled across the stars. They shared knowledge, guided humans, and then they left. But they left records. They left guidance. This tomb is one of those records. The machines hummed and whirred, almost as if they were alive. A panel in front of Daniel shifted, revealing a hidden chamber behind it. The glow from inside was soft but inviting. The symbols on the walls seemed to move toward the chamber, guiding them. We have to see what's inside, Daniel said. This is not just history. This is a map, a lesson, a message. Whoever built this wanted us to find it now. The team entered the chamber. Inside, they found rows of screens, holograms, and ancient devices, some floating above platforms. The machines displayed more images of humans and the tall beings working together, creating technology that none of the explorers could have imagined. Some images showed humans learning, studying, and exploring planets beyond their own. Amir traced the holographic paths of ships and worlds. These humans, they were not primitive. They were trained. They were part of a vast alliance. And it looks like Earth was always important. Daniel stepped closer to a glowing panel that seemed to pulse with energy. Words formed on it, readable to anyone who could focus. They described an alliance between humans and travelers from distant stars. Humans were taught science, strategy, and wisdom. They were given knowledge to survive, to grow, and to remember even if the travelers disappeared. This is unbelievable, Mara said. Our ancestors were not alone. We have been told we are small, weak, and insignificant. This tomb says the opposite. We were partners in something incredible. Lena pointed to a series of rotating symbols. These machines are not just showing history. They are testing understanding. Look at this pattern. It changes based on our actions. It is as if the tomb wants us to learn, not just see. Daniel nodded slowly. Yes, it is not a tomb of death. It is a tomb of knowledge. The machines are guardians of history, and they only respond to those willing to understand. That is why it revealed itself to us now. The hum grew louder, surrounding the explorers like a living presence. Light traced the edges of the machines, highlighting paths deeper into the tomb. Daniel realized the tomb was alive in a way, not conscious like humans, but aware of who entered, who watched, and who learned. Look at this, Amir said, pointing to a holographic star map. Earth is marked in the center. It says here humans were once guided by the travelers, trained, and then left to grow. We are not alone, but we are also not new. We have a history that was hidden from us, and this tomb is showing it now. Daniel felt a surge of pride and responsibility. We must remember this. Humanity is stronger than we think. We once stood beside giants, and now it is our turn to rise. This knowledge is a gift, but also a duty. We have to share it. Mara reached out to touch one of the floating symbols. The hum intensified, resonating in their chests. The tomb was alive, echoing the achievements of the past, preparing humans for a future they had yet to see. The explorers stood together, amazed and humbled. They had come seeking a tomb, but what they found was much more. This was a library of history, a guide to greatness, and a message to remind humanity of its potential. The tomb had awakened, and it was ready to show them the path forward. Daniel took a deep breath, feeling the weight and promise of the tomb. This is only the beginning. There is more to see, more to understand. The tomb has chosen to speak to us, and we must listen. Humanity's story is waiting to be remembered. With careful steps, the explorers moved deeper into the chamber, following the machine's guidance, ready to uncover secrets that could change everything they thought they knew about themselves and their place in the universe. The explorers moved deeper into the tomb, guided by the glowing symbols and the hum of the machines. The air grew cooler and carried a faint metallic scent. Daniel led the team carefully, aware that every step brought them closer to something unknown. The walls here were smoother, carved with patterns of energy flowing like rivers. It felt alive, as if the tomb itself was aware of their presence. Suddenly, the hum intensified. From hidden recesses in the walls, small drones emerged, floating silently in the air. They were sleek, metallic, and pulsed with a soft blue light. The explorers froze, unsure whether the drones were friendly or dangerous. "They're testing us," Daniel whispered. "I can feel it. The tomb is not just a library. It is checking if we are ready." One drone hovered near Amir, scanning him with a light that moved across his body like an invisible hand. Amir took a step back, nervous. What if they attack? "We don't know what they can do." Daniel held up his hand. "Do not move too fast. Observe. The tomb wants to see courage, not panic." The drone circled slowly, analyzing every movement of the explorers. Daniel felt a strange energy as the machine scanned him. It was not harmful, but it pressed on his chest like a weight of expectation. He understood that this was the tomb's first test, a trial to see if humans could face what lay ahead with calm and respect. Lena studied one of the drones closely. "They are not weapons," she said. "They respond to intent. Look at how they hesitate when we remain still. If we panic, they might react differently. We need to stay calm and show we are here to learn, not to fight." Daniel stepped forward, placing his hand on a glowing stone embedded in the floor. The drones paused, hovering nearby without aggression. A low hum filled the chamber, vibrating through the floor and walls. Symbols on the walls shifted and glowed brighter, forming a pathway forward. The tomb was acknowledging their courage and respect. Mara's eyes lit up. "The tomb is guiding us. This is not a trap. It is a test to prove that we are worthy of what lies ahead." As they followed the glowing pathway, the drones flew above and beside them, like silent guardians. Every movement felt deliberate, as if the tomb itself was teaching them how to approach knowledge with care and wisdom. The explorers realized that this trial was not about strength, but understanding, patience, and unity. The chamber opened into a wider hall, filled with floating panels and glowing symbols. A central platform held a massive crystal, pulsating with light. Daniel stepped closer, feeling a connection to it he could not explain. The drones formed a circle around the crystal, scanning the explorers carefully. "This is it," Daniel said quietly. "This is what the tomb wants us to see. The crystal holds knowledge. And the drones, they are protectors, not enemies. They test those who seek the truth." Amir stepped forward, still cautious. "How do we know we can touch it? What if it reacts badly?" Daniel studied the crystal. "The tomb already knows us. We are here, together, calm and respectful. That is all it requires. The crystal will respond if we are worthy." Daniel extended his hand and lightly touched the crystal. A pulse of energy ran through him, not painful but strong, and images appeared in his mind. Humans standing with the tall guardians, building, learning, exploring. Battles, stars, machines, and discoveries flashed through his mind. He saw courage, wisdom, and hope. He understood that the tomb was not only a record of history, but also a reminder of humanity's potential. The drones moved slightly closer, no longer threatening. The hum shifted into a harmonious tone, filling the hall with a sense of reassurance. Daniel stepped back and nodded at his companions. "We have passed the first test. The tomb recognizes our courage, our respect, and our willingness to learn. Now, it will show us more." Mara reached out, touching one of the floating symbols. Light flowed from it into the crystal, expanding through the chamber. The drones hovered in formation, guiding the team forward. The hall opened into a staircase, descending further into the tomb. The air vibrated with energy, and the glowing symbols continued to pulse along the walls. Lena smiled, excitement and awe in her eyes. It is like the tomb is alive. It reacts to us, guides us, and protects what is inside. We are part of its story now. Daniel felt a deep sense of pride and responsibility. We have been given a chance to see humanity's forgotten history. These trials are not just tests. They are lessons. We must remember them and be worthy of what comes next. The explorers moved forward together, their confidence growing. The drones continued to guide them, a silent reminder that the tomb was aware of their presence, their actions, and their intentions. They understood now that the tomb was not just a resting place, not just a record, but a teacher dot as they descended the staircase. Daniel looked at the glowing walls, feeling the hum in his chest. "The tomb has more to reveal," he said. "And we will see it. Humanity's story is waiting. We are ready for what comes next." With steady steps, the explorers continued their journey, the tomb alive around them, preparing to unveil secrets that had waited for centuries beneath the desert sands. A staircase ended in a massive hall, unlike anything the explorers had seen before. The ceiling arched high above, adorned with glowing symbols that formed constellations unknown to modern astronomy. Light flowed from crystals embedded in the walls, illuminating a central platform where a large, radiant crystal floated silently. Its glow pulsed gently, casting long shadows across the chamber. Daniel stepped forward, awe and excitement competing in his chest. "This is it," he said quietly. "The heart of the tomb." The team gathered around the platform, careful not to touch the crystal prematurely. Lena's hands trembled slightly as she scanned the energy readings from her devices. "This crystal is alive, in a way," she said. "It contains knowledge, history, and guidance. Whoever built this tomb intended it to teach humanity, to remind us of our potential." Amir stepped closer, studying the surrounding walls. These carvings show humans and the tall beings side by side. They were allies, teachers, and protectors. Then the humans are shown standing alone, strong and confident, as if the guardians left them to grow on their own. Daniel nodded. Yes, this tomb was never about holding the dead. It was about preserving lessons, history, and hope. The crystal in the center holds records of everything humanity once knew and the paths we can still take. Mara knelt beside the platform, her eyes scanning the carvings along the walls. "Look here. It shows humans learning technology, exploring the stars, building machines, and even defending worlds. They were not weak. They were part of something greater, something we have forgotten." The crystal pulsed brighter, reacting to Daniel's presence. Images appeared within it, floating like holograms. He saw humans standing beside the tall guardians, learning science, strategy, and wisdom. They built cities, traveled to distant planets, and created devices that could control energy in ways beyond comprehension. Then the images shifted to battles, dangers, and challenges that the Alliance had faced together. The humans survived, grew, and eventually stood alone, ready to continue without their guides. "This crystal is a record," Daniel said. "It shows that humans were never small, weak, or insignificant. We were partners, allies, and learners. And now, the tomb has chosen to remind us." The drones from the previous chamber reappeared, hovering quietly around the platform. Their soft blue light reflected off the walls and the crystal. Lena studied them carefully. They are not attacking. They are watching, protecting the knowledge until someone proves worthy of it. We passed the first test, and now the tomb is revealing more. Daniel stepped closer to the crystal, careful to keep his hands just above it. The holographic images swirled faster, showing humans building, learning, and exploring. He felt a strong connection, as if the crystal was not only showing the past, but also whispering to him about the future. "Everything we see here is a lesson," Mara said softly. "The tomb is telling us that humans are capable of greatness, that we can rise, even if we have forgotten who we were. The knowledge is here. The choice is ours to use it wisely." Amir placed a hand on the glowing platform, and the crystal pulsed gently in response. A holographic map expanded from its center, showing Earth and distant stars, connecting them with lines of light. The paths marked trade, communication, and exploration. Daniel realized that these paths were the history of humanity's ancient alliance, the routes humans once traveled to learn, defend, and grow alongside the tall beings. "We have always had potential," Daniel said. "The tomb reminds us that even without our allies, humans can achieve greatness. We are not new to the universe. We were once part of something bigger, and now it is time to remember and rise again." Lena smiled, her eyes bright. "The crystal is teaching us, guiding us. It is alive with the knowledge of the past, but it also encourages us to act. We are not just observers. We are participants in the next chapter of humanity." Mara stepped back to take in the hall. The guardians, the machines, the crystal, everything here exists to remind us that humans are resilient, intelligent, and capable of extraordinary things. This tomb is a gift. It is hope preserved for centuries. The hum of the crystal filled the chamber, vibrating through the explorers' bodies, filling them with energy and determination. Daniel realized that the tomb had waited for this moment, for humans ready to understand, respect, and learn from it. The crystal's light shifted, forming a circle around them, pulsing in rhythm with their heartbeat. "This is more than discovery," Daniel said. "This is a reminder. Humanity was never weak. We were guided, we learned, and we survived. And now this tomb tells us the time has come to rise again." The explorers stood together in silence, absorbing the truth of the tomb. They knew their lives had changed. They carried knowledge that could reshape humanity's understanding of itself. The crystal in the heart of the tomb had revealed the forgotten history, the strength of the human spirit, and the potential waiting to be awakened. Daniel finally spoke, determination in his voice. "We must return with this knowledge. Humanity needs to remember. The tomb has given us a gift, and it is our responsibility to share it. The future of our species depends on understanding the past, and now the past is alive again." The team nodded, united in purpose. They had reached the heart of the tomb, seen humanity's forgotten allies, and learned the lessons the crystal had preserved for centuries. Now, the final part of their journey awaited, a message for all of humanity. Beneath the desert sands, the explorers began their ascent from the heart of the tomb, each step carrying the weight of the knowledge they had discovered. The glowing crystals, symbols, and drones followed them silently, as if ensuring they would leave safely. Daniel glanced back one last time at the central chamber. The radiant crystal pulsed gently, its light fading as they moved away, but the images of humans and guardians remained alive in their minds. "This place, it is more than a tomb," Mara said softly. "It is a message. A reminder of what humans are capable of. We can rise, we can learn, and we can protect what matters. Daniel nodded. It is a message for all of humanity. We cannot keep it to ourselves. This knowledge must reach the world. Humans need to remember the strength they once had and the potential that still exists. As they moved through the corridors, the drones hovered above, guiding them toward the exit. The hum of the tomb followed them, soothing and protective, like a silent farewell. The explorers felt the energy of the place lingering in their bodies, filling them with courage and determination. Every step reminded them of the lessons they had learned: respect, patience, unity, and the power of knowledge. Amir paused to touch one of the symbols along the wall. I feel like the tomb knew we would come, he said. It tested us, guided us, and now it trusts us. That is incredible. Lena smiled. And it chose us for a reason. We have seen what humanity can achieve when it remembers its past. We must share this carefully, but boldly. The world needs hope, and this tomb has given it to us. When they finally reached the surface, the desert greeted them with a calm that was almost magical. The sun shone brightly, casting long shadows across the dunes. The storm that had once threatened them had vanished, leaving the sand smooth and silent. Daniel looked at the horizon, feeling the vastness of the desert beneath the endless sky. The tomb is gone, Mara said, noticing that the metallic door and staircase had disappeared beneath the sands. It sealed itself. It waits for the right moment and the right people again. We were fortunate. Daniel turned to his team. We are not just lucky. We were chosen. The tomb trusts humanity to remember and act. Now, it is our responsibility to honor that trust. We carry the message forward. As they prepared to leave the desert, Daniel reflected on the images and stories they had seen. Humans once stood beside beings who guided and protected them, sharing wisdom and knowledge across the stars. Even without those allies, humans had survived, grown, and achieved greatness. The tomb had preserved that history, waiting for a time when humans would need to remember it, when they were ready to rise again. This changes everything, Amir said. We have proof that humans were never weak, never alone. The world must know this. Daniel smiled, feeling a surge of pride. Yes, we have a responsibility now. To teach, to inspire, to show humanity what it truly is. The tomb has reminded us that our potential is limitless. We must not waste it. Mara looked out at the desert, her eyes filled with determination. The tomb has given us hope, guidance, and courage. We carry it in our hearts. Every choice we make from now on will honor that gift. Lena checked their equipment and maps. We need to document everything. The symbols, the images, the machines, the crystal. Humanity deserves to see the truth. We have a story to tell, and it is one that can change the future. Daniel took a deep breath, feeling the desert wind on his face. The tomb was never just a resting place. It was a teacher, a guide, and a reminder of who we are. Humans are not small. Humans are not weak. We are capable of greatness beyond imagination, and now the world must remember that. As the explorers mounted their rovers and began the journey back to civilization, Daniel felt a quiet determination in his heart. The desert stretched endlessly before them, but it no longer felt empty. It was alive with the memory of the tomb, the knowledge of humanity's past, and the promise of a future waiting to be built. Behind them, the sand shifted slightly, sealing the tomb beneath layers of stone and dust. It would wait again, as it had for centuries, until the next moment when humanity was ready to listen, learn, and rise. Daniel looked at his companions, his voice steady and filled with purpose. The tomb has given us a gift. We have learned the truth about our history, our strength, and our potential. Now, it is our duty to share it. Humanity must remember who we are, what we can achieve, and that the future belongs to those brave. enough to reach for it. The team nodded in agreement, hearts united. They had discovered a world forgotten by time, faced trials, and uncovered a history that would inspire generations. As the rovers moved across the desert sands, Daniel knew this was only the beginning. Humanity's story was alive again, stronger and brighter than ever. And beneath the desert, the tomb rested in silence, its secrets safe, its purpose fulfilled, waiting patiently for the next chapter in humanity's extraordinary journey.